Welcome to day 4. On this fast, on day 4, I'm feeling things that I did not feel since my early fasts. So those things are like, I feel very tired. I feel like almost like I woke up this morning and I felt like my body was just like being pulled down into the earth. Like gravity was just a lot stronger. Not that my body felt heavier, but it was just this like crazy pull. And I think it just means like my brain is changing. I'm getting very tired and I just feel like I need more rest. I just need more rest. So today, whether you are fasting, whether you are about to fast, or whether you are breaking your fast today, congratulations. And I have 3 book recommendations for you. What I've learned is that, on this like adventure of getting healthy and changing habits and doing all this fun stuff, if we do not integrate the information and get educated, then we can change our health states by changing how we eat. We can change our habits, but oftentimes life happens. And if we start developing new issues or the same issues come back, oftentimes that could be the case because that initial education was not there to begin with. So it is important to get that education in. So I've got 3 book recommendations for you today. They are linked in the description as well. And the first one is called The Last Diet by Shahroo Izadi. She is a behavior change expert. There she is. And she is also a riot. Very fun to watch. You can search for her on YouTube and see what she's all about. Oftentimes we are doing this diet, this fasting mimicking diet and all the rest. Hi, Monique, because we want to lose weight. A lot of people want to lose weight. If we lose weight, all of our other dangerous health markers also come down. So there's lots of benefits to losing weight. I like that she says, even if you just want to lose weight, just to simply look better and feel better, there's nothing wrong with that. And I agree, there's nothing wrong with that. But here on this channel, what I have top of mind is specifically our health state versus looking hot and, all that good stuff. The reason why I love this book and why I highly recommend it is because oftentimes when we are changing our habits, whether it is losing weight or anything else, it's a psychological game. We play the same soundtrack in our mind every time we are going through challenges. And this book is filled with specific exercises that Shahroo takes her patients through, her clients through, to change their behavior for good. The reason why I love these recommendations and these exercises, even though if you have gone through exercises in terms of behavior change or changing your habits, and you've read Atomic Habits, which is also an excellent book, the reason why I love this is because it kind of like takes the best of all of that stuff that we may have been exposed to before, but it frames it in a very unique way. Of course, in Shahroo's way. And again, like I said, she is a riot. She is an absolute blast. And so you can see that coming through in her writing. It's very approachable. You could literally just read this whole book in one sitting. And oftentimes when we are changing aspects of our lifestyle, it is this internal dialogue that also we need to shine a light on. We need to become aware of how we make decisions. And I will say that going through these exercises has allowed me to become much more aware. And I think I'm a pretty aware person, but of course, there's always room for improvement. There's always stuff to learn about yourself. And this book will shine a light on that and help in so many ways. If I could recommend one exercise, it is called My Soundtrack. And it is in her book on page 85. So you can start there. Just go through the whole thing. And it basically is, I'll just give you a snapshot of it. It's My Soundtrack. And the whole purpose of My Soundtrack is, let's say that you're on a health journey. Let's say that it is challenging for you to kind of like stay away from certain foods that you used to love and may still love. There's nothing wrong with still loving that food. It's still delicious, FYI. You still have working taste buds. You have memories. Maybe you have family traditions that involve certain foods like that. But also, let's say we're trying to like abstain from that. Let's use a specific example. My husband is fasting with me, and last night he went outside to get something. He's like, somebody's eating fried chicken because I can smell it. Like, lucky them. So let's say you're trying not to eat fried chicken or deep fried foods. And let's say that you've broken your fast, you're refeeding, and you eat some fried chicken. All of a sudden, all this negativity starts playing your soundtrack, right? I failed. I'm never going to learn. I mean, like, you name it. You got to go through your own exercise. But a lot of very powerful, compelling words will start floating through your mind, and that does not do us any good. It does not support our success. So this is a very kind book. She is also the author of The Kindness Method, and I would highly recommend both of those books. But this specifically is a tool and a tactic that you can use to apply to your life and help you make better decisions. So that is number one. Number two, and this is not in any order, but if I were refeeding right now, today, like you, Monique, this is the actual order that I would read. So next book is the McDougall Program for Maximum Weight Loss. Even if you are not on a weight loss journey, I would highly recommend this book because it teaches you so much about food in general. Teaches us about our essential nutrients, our macronutrients, our micronutrients, teaches us why when we go on fad diets and then we stop them, for some reason, we tend to gain the weight right back immediately. And so many times we gain even more weight. This book teaches you about our physiology, and it just like, talk about awareness, you'll become aware. Now, what I love about this book in particular is John McDougall, just known for just not beating around the bush and just getting straight to the point. So if you need a very gentle and he gets to the point. So I hope that you enjoy that. It is a great read. And then, of course, he is one of the most prolific writers that, definitely the most prolific writer I've ever worked with. He has so much content on his website, which is drmcdougall.com. You can look up tons of information. He cites all of his sources. That will take you on a crazy rabbit trail, and it might be one of the best educations you ever gift yourself with. Now, in terms of weight loss, because that is continuously going to be one of the biggest challenges of humanity in terms of our health state, it is very frustrating. And today online, if you just kind of like look at the most popular media, it's not going to bode well for long-term health. It might give you short-term results. You might drop some weight, but the challenge there is you might lose a lot of muscle mass in that process. And that is like superficial weight that in the interim, you're actually adding on quite a bit of body fat because of the food that is highly recommended. Again, mainstream. I won't say like Dr. McDougall is like niche, but compared to the world, yeah, he's niche. The plant-based circle, it's kind of niche, right? I would say that of all people who want to get healthy or change their food or try to eat healthier, the whole food plant-based diet is probably the last diet that people will try. We'll try everything else before we try this one. Monique says, oh, I have that book. I've been reading his books for years and I'm following his way of eating. Perfect. If by chance you are quite ill, my highest recommendation is to follow the rules of the McDougall program. Okay, they teach how to eat the most natural foods possible, and we just got to do our best. It really doesn't have to be perfect, but of course, the more you do, the faster and better your results. Monique said that I released 50 pounds with this method. Yes, I have first of all, congratulations and like standing ovation for you, because that is no joke. That is a lot of weight, and that would have taken a lot of dedication. So kudos to you. But what I love about this teaching is that it's not about weighing our food, counting our calories, and even he doesn't even recommend that you eat certain times of day. So intermittent fasting was not a part of his world. And so it makes things a lot easier. And of course, AKA Dr. McDougall, AKA Dr. Potato, is a huge proponent of potatoes. And most people think if I eat potatoes and rice, I'm just going to gain weight. But he teaches you why that's wrong. And really, it's because typically when we eat potatoes and rice, it is alongside something else that's very fattening. We think it's the potatoes and rice, but in fact, if you look up the breakdown of potatoes and rice, it is so low fat, it's low protein. And here's the thing, if we eat excess protein, yes, we're going to overwork our kidneys, but also, according to Christopher Gardner, Stanford professor, he says that if we eat excess protein, that could actually be metabolized as body fat, right? So if you eat tons of meat and you're working out and you buff out and you got the big muscles and you look great, as soon as you start working out and stimulating those muscles, what happens? You actually see all of the fat that you've accumulated based on how you were eating, because there's a high fat content in meat, in dairy, in butter, and all those things. I know they're delicious, but you got to know what you're dealing with. All right, last but not least, of course, highest recommendation to read is The Longevity Diet by Dr. Walter Longo. He is the creator of the Fasting Mimicking Diet. Not only are we slowing aging, fighting disease, optimizing our weight, his whole thing is about his 5 pillars of longevity. And basically, we've got to look at human studies. We've got to look at the science. So there are 5 pillars. And he leans on all these 5 pillars because he doesn't want us to just focus and be so narrow-minded and look at like one thing. Like, we cannot be reductionists. We do have to look at the whole body of evidence. And he summarizes it all in this book. My favorite thing about Sharu's book is that exercise, the soundtrack. The soundtrack is so good, so juicy. My favorite part of this book, I mean, there are so many, and there are tons of recipes in the back. I will say that my favorite part is learning about our physiology and learning so much about carbohydrates, more than you ever thought was possible. But once you understand carbohydrates, you understand that that is our primary energy source. That is the bulk of our food. And of course, we have to learn about food. And so as we're breaking our fast and refeeding, yesterday I showed my list: legumes, whole grains, veggies, fruits and veg, nuts and seeds. That's not to say, in my world, my recommendation is like, we have to do what brings us joy also. So I'm not here telling everybody that you got to be vegan or you got to be whole food plant-based and you have to abstain from oil and salt. If doing all of that works for you, then that's amazing, but that's not going to work for everybody. So if you're thinking like this is too restrictive and I'm going to go to food jail, there's nothing wrong with going to food jail for a temporary time if you've never been there before with the McDougall program rules, because I will almost guarantee that you have never felt better. But we have to be realistic. We have to take into account, of course, the way we live our lives, the way we travel, where do we work, like so many things. Who do we live with? A lot of different factors. My favorite thing about the Longevity Diet book, of course, is he gives us the hack of how to do our DIY version. So he gives us the breakdown of how you can formulate your own DIY. Interestingly, in this book, he is a lot more lenient in terms of the amounts of carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. He gives kind of like overall examples of what types of foods you can eat. But in our DIY menu, it's linked in the description. It is following the exact macronutrient breakdown of the official FMD. And I just want to be clear that everything that you may hear in terms of statistics, like C-reactive protein is lowered by whatever percentage if you do 3 rounds of the FMD, or people on average lose this much weight doing the FMD. If you hear a specific stat, and if I share a specific stat, I'm sharing based on Walter Longo's work and his team's work on the official Prolon FMD. Our DIY, I will share anecdotal, I was just about to say evidence. I'm not a scientist. I will share anecdotal stories and examples of real people that I personally see who feel amazing and they get crazy fast results. So I'm not going to name names, but at a high level, people always drop weight. But if you want to maintain that weight loss and continue to lose extra body weight, you've got to read this book. You've got to understand this. The link in the description will lead you to this book. However, it's going to have a different cover because this is an old version. They updated the cover because this book is so popular, because it's so effective. A lot of people have aches and pains, a lot of aches and pains, a lot of bloating, a lot of swelling, whether that be in the face or other areas of their bodies. And within serious 1, 2, 3 days, that bloating and that swelling dramatically decreases. And so what does that mean? That mean it could mean water weight. We could have a high salt intake, but once that sheds off, it is really a metabolic thing, right? Like during this FMD, we are eating so differently. We're hitting pause. We're not eating a lot of food that we typically eat that maybe perhaps got us into trouble. And so because of that, inflammation is coming down. And when we do not put that stuff in our bodies, that's the amazing thing about our bodies, is that it will start working inflammation out. The body is constantly working to achieve that state of homeostasis, right? Where everything is balanced, all the things, our blood pressure, our cholesterol, everything. So that's the amazing thing. I already told you my favorite part of the longevity diet. But it's an interesting read also for me, because I have read so much from like plant-based doctors. And after a while, you're like, okay, I have read the same thing like 15 times. Tell me something new. Tell me something different. But I love that they're all aligned in their messaging, right? It's nice to read from other people, right? So like get out of the echo chamber and read from a scientist who may largely agree with most of the stuff that the plant-based doctors say, but not everything. He definitely does not agree with everything. All right, so that's my recommendation. We need to educate ourselves. We need to instill all of that knowledge into us, into our psyche. It will make its way through our heart. There's going to be nuggets in here that stick with you for a lifetime. They will help you make better decisions. They will help you live a better life and help you execute better too, and choose better food. Okay, Monique says, by the way, the miracle soup is amazing. Yes, with an avocado toast with lettuce, tomato, and sprouts, great lunch. Ooh, yes. Oh my gosh. The miracle soup is one of the first soups where I put avocado in it and had no idea how much joy that could bring. So I'm so glad you enjoyed that, Monique. All right, well, that's our short live today. It's not short. I always ramble on. It's 18 minutes long. Anyway, Monique, I hope you are having a brilliant refeeding day. Keep up the great work, and we'll see you tomorrow.